Okay, so today we're going to learn how to build online classrooms and maybe 1,000 other things using organic groups. And so before I start, I want to tell you a bit about me. Halloween's coming up, so I'm going to look like this in about 2 or 3 days. So my name is Trevor, and my last name is virtually unpronounceable, so we'll leave it at that. I moved here from Edmonton, Alberta about 1 year and 2 months ago, so I've been living in Montreal for just over 1 year. My French is still terrible. I've been using Drupal for about 5 years now, and so I started using Drupal back when Bush was still president, which is a weird way to phrase things, I guess. And I am a site builder slash themer. So themer is sort of obvious, more front-end stuff. But site builder is sort of, in Drupal we're lucky that we can download and install and enable modules and be able to configure just clicking through. We don't need to write any code. So this is what I'm going to do today. We're not going to see any code today. So that's me. But I want to know about you guys. So what your guys' relation is to organic groups. So who here has used organic groups before? Okay, 2 people. Who here has heard of it but never used it? Okay. And who came here just because it said online classrooms and thought that was kind of neat? Okay. And who's completely new to Drupal? Anybody? Okay. All right. Okay. So I started dividing this presentation into 3 different parts. And the first part is sort of the problem I had when I had discovered organic groups. The second part, most of it is going to be demo, so maybe a half-hour of a demo. And the third part is going to explain sort of what the 1,000 other things you can do with organic groups. So, part 1, how I came to find organic groups. I moved here from Alberta, as I said. And when you think of Alberta, you think of tar sands, you think of gentlemen like this, you think of trucks with huge lift kits on them. So I had my biggest client I had in Alberta a few years ago. They're from Alberta, and so naturally they are solar Alberta. So this is probably the biggest oxymoron in Canada, solar and Alberta. These words should be on the other side of each other. So what does Solar Alberta do? Solar Alberta promotes and teaches people about solar energy. The way they do this is by putting on classes, real-world classes. So you can sign up for a course, and you take a 6-week course to learn about electric vehicles, or photovoltaic cells, or solar hot water. And so, Solar Alberta, we had this site running on Drupal 6, and so when it came time to go to Drupal 7, we had a requirement. We still need to sell class registrations online. And the way we were doing that before was just buy the product online, you get an email, say, come to this place, and then the instructor would just email you a bunch of PDFs and Word documents in like a zip file or something. So that wasn't really cool, so we said, okay, we can probably do something better than that. And then they asked, well, sometimes we have simultaneous classrooms going on at once. Maybe we have like an electric vehicles class going on here, and we got a solar hot water class going on here. Is there any way we can like divide these 2 groups of people together? We group students together like this? Maybe. And they also said, Trevor, can we share course material with registered students? Again, this whole problem of defining these students together and the instructor having to just email file to each other. It works, but it's not really that cool. So I did the 21st century thing, and I went to Google, and I Googled Drupal classroom module. I said, okay, cool, we got a module, we got a classroom module. We looked at it, we read the top here. Oh, it says, classroom is a simple but flexible e-learning system that allows to create courses containing resources, assignments, and that kind of stuff. I said, okay, that's basically what I need, but we go down there, it's only for Drupal 6, and there's only like 30 sites using it, so can't really use that. Back to the drawing board. If you search long enough about classrooms and Drupal, you're going to see this word a lot, organic groups. And I heard about this module a lot. I had no idea what it was. Organic groups. It's organic groups. I heard about it for years, never used it. I just assumed it was some sort of like advanced message board thing. I don't need that. Well, I started using organic groups, and can define it now, and if somebody asked to define it in 5 words, I'd say organic groups, it's collections of people and content. What does that mean? Well, we're trying to define this in what we're trying to build here. We're trying to build a classroom. Okay, what's a collection? Well, you kind of think of like a classroom as sort of something that collects people, course material, content. So, collections is classroom. Well, what kind of people are in a classroom? You got teachers, you got students. What sort of content? Materials, assignments, you got homework. So this is sort of the model we're going to use for the demo. We're going to make a classroom. It's going to have a teacher, it's going to have a student, it's going to have materials, assignments, and it's going to have homework. Sound good? Okay. So we'll go to the demo. Before I get started with that, I am just going to show you some of the modules we're going to use. Organic groups, obviously, views module, panels. You guys heard of most of these modules before? Okay. And there's a bunch of other little dependencies that you'll find you need to install when you install these too, but I won't put them on here. So I'll kick off the demo. So I have 3 browsers here. I got Safari, which is my logged in administrator user. I got Google Chrome, that's the logged in user, who's going to be the student. And I got Firefox, who's just a regular old anonymous user, not logged in at all. So we've enabled our modules. Here we are, standard vanilla Drupal installation. We've enabled organic groups. And you think, okay, what do we do? What's next? This doesn't look like a group. This doesn't look like a classroom. What is this? So you might think, well, do I go to configuration? Maybe there's my groups in there. And you scroll down. No, field settings, no. Membership types, no. Permissions, no. That's not what organic groups is about. A group in organic groups is just another content type. You guys have made content types yourself? Okay. So to do this, we go to structure, content types, and we just add another content type. So we're going to call this one our course. Call it course. Description, course being held at our gathering. Okay, we'll call this course name. Okay, publishing, yep. Sorry, I'm a little sick. Display setting, good. Comments, teachers here enough shit already, that's good. All right, we'll hide that. But the real magic here comes with this organic groups tab right here. So it says specify how organic groups should treat this content type. So we want this course, we want this to act as our container. We want this to act as our group. So we're going to check this box, group. We're going to save our content. Okay. So that makes sense so far? Okay. So in Drupal, we make the content type, but we need to still make the content. So we're going to make our first classroom, our first course. So go to content, add course. Okay. We're going to call this Astronomy 101. Okay, and that's it. We've made our first course, our first sort of classroom. But it still doesn't really look like a classroom yet. We need something else. We need materials. We need, let's say, a syllabus. So to do this, we just make another content type. And this, the syllabus isn't going to be a group. It's going to be group content. Content we're going to put inside this course here. So again, we go to structure, content types. We're going to add content type. We're going to call this syllabus. Describes what a course will be. Okay, that's good. Front page, that's okay. Comment sentence. Okay, back with this magical organic groups tab here. So last time we chose group, but this isn't going to be the group. This is going to be the group pops down this fancy thing, but that's next year's session or something. Okay. So we're going to save and add fields. Okay. We're going to add a field here. We're going to say we're going to add a file field here. I want to upload a PDF about this first syllabus. Save. PDF, Word docs, save. Okay. So now we've made our syllabus content type. So let's go make a syllabus. Astronomy 101 syllabus. Okay, and you notice this is a bit different than an ordinary content type. We've got this new field here called groups audience. What this says is that when you're making group content, you choose what group you want this to be in, or course, classroom. So we want this to be just for the Astronomy 101 course. And if I had made other courses like Liberal Arts 101 or something, those would show up here, but we'll just choose this one right now. Okay. Starts this fall. Add a file. Upload that. Save. Okay, so our syllabus is here. We have a file, the PDF file right here. It's our syllabus. And it also says groups audience by default, so we could say, you know, classroom, what classroom does this belong to? Astronomy 101, which shows us right there. So this, I'm just going to enable something in panels just for 1 second, just to give you sort of a better view of what a classroom could look like. Edit, enable this. Okay. So this is what our classroom sort of looks like. It's starting to look more like a classroom. We've got a class description on there. We see the members, me, it's just me right now. And it shows the syllabus right here. It shows all the content of this group right there. Okay, so far we've been looking at this through the eyes of an administrator, but how does this look for a student? So let's go to Chrome. We're going to refresh. And we're going to go to our class here. And this is what it looks like for them. Pretty much the same thing, except right here it says request group membership. You can think of this like join this course or whatever. So let's click that. Okay, are you sure you want to join the class? Convince us you want to be in here. It says, I love space. Join. And a message gets sent to the administrator. I don't know, email's turned on right now, so we're not going to be able to see it. But if we go back and we go back to my administrator view here, you notice this group tab. This group tab shows all the people that are in this group. So we go here, group, people, gives me a group overview. You can see right here that student just applied. You can see their state is pending. They're not in this group yet. We haven't allowed them yet. And their request message, I love space. So, okay, I love space. That's good. And this is like must be Sweden because there's no tuition fees here. So we're going to let them in. Modify membership status. We'll make them active. Confirm. Okay. So you can see this student is active. This student is inside our group, inside our class. Let's go back to Google Chrome. Right now, before we refresh, it just says admin. If I refresh here, it shows a student inside of there. We got a student inside of our classroom now. Okay, so we have a classroom, we got a student in there now. Let's have them do an assignment. So we're going to make an assignment content type. We're going to make, again, in the administrator view here, structure, content type, add content type. Call this assignments for the course. Okay. That's good. Publish. Okay. Display. Okay. Comments here might be interesting because if you have a classroom and your students are working on it, it might be good for them to, comment on, a worksheet that they have to do. We're going to keep that on. Organic groups again, we're not going to use group here. This isn't group, this is group content. Save and add fields. Okay, we're going to add that file field again. I want another PDF in here. Save. Okay. So we've made the assignment content type. Let's make an assignment for these students. Okay. Elliptical orbits. Again, we choose the group audience. Astronomy. Choose our file here. Yeah, that one. I'm going to upload that. Let's save. Okay, so it's there. It says PDF right here. It says what courses is in, Astronomy 101. And it ends up right there. Okay. So let's see what the student sees when they go to here again. So we're going to refresh, and they should be able to see it. Okay, well, let's see what the anonymous user sees. We want them to see the syllabus, but we don't want them to see the course, the assignment stuff, right? We go here, refresh. We got a problem. It's showing up for anonymous people. We don't want that. So what's the problem here? Well, we don't have a field yet on the assignments that says we make this public content or private content. So that's what we have to do next. So we need to add on our assignments content type field says we want this private. So I'm going to go back to Safari here, logged in user. And to do this, it's not great, the UI for it yet. You would think you would just go to structure content types and add another field. It doesn't work that way yet. Instead, we've got to go to configuration, organic groups. See this section right here, OG field settings. Okay. Again, I didn't design this. This isn't me, so don't blame me. Okay. So this just shows all the things that organic groups has its figures in. So we got our syllabus content type here. We got our assignment content type here. We got our course. On our assignment content type, the only field we have is group audience. That one row we just chose, Astronomy 101. What we need here is a content visibility field. Again, this UI is not great, so we're going to go here, we're going to choose assignment. We want this to be on the assignment content type. And we want to add the field group content visibility. We're going to add this field. Okay. Go back to assignment. We've added this field here. We go back to our content type. Assignment. Which fields? We got this new field right here, group content visibility. So let's go back to our assignment. We're going to edit this. See this field down here. This new field right here, group content visibility. By default, in organic groups, all your group content is public by default. So for this one, we need to change this to private. Accessible only to group members. So this will mean the student will see it, the admin will see it, the anonymous user will not see it. Save. Okay. Let's check out what the student sees. Nothing should change here. Nothing does. Go back to Firefox, anonymous user. You can see elliptical orbits right now. Not good. If we refresh. There. So it's not showing. It's pretty cool, huh? Okay, so let's do another thing. We want our students now, we want them to submit their homework to me. So we're going to make another group content type. So go back to Safari here. Make another content type. We'll call this homework. Files, we definitely don't want this to be public. This should only be private stuff. So I'm not even going to publish this to the front page. That's fine. Yeah, no comments except for the teacher. Organic groups again. Group content. Save and add fields. Okay. Okay, so we're going to add that field that we've been using, that file field here. So we need our student to upload their PDF or Word document. Save. Okay, and we're going to add that content visibility field again. So we're going to go back to the configuration here. Organic groups field settings. You can see this new one here, homework. It only has group audience right here. We're going to add that content visibility field again. Right here, homework, content visibility, add that field. Go back to structure, manage fields, homework, it's there again. But we can make private be the default now. Instead of public being the default, which we never want this to be for when people hand in their homework, we can make private the default. Go to edit here on the group content visibility field. The default value, we go private, only group members. Okay. So let's go to the student page and refresh. And now we want the student to upload a piece of content here. But there's no link for him to add it. There's no add content link, add homework link. So what we got to do is we got to give a role to our student here. And has anybody used roles and permissions inside Drupal before the standard things? Okay, so you might think, okay, let's go to the standard people permissions page here in Drupal and say, well, we'll just add a role, another student role. But that doesn't work because we don't want this to be a global sort of role. We only want this to apply just to our groups. We only want it to apply there because if somebody is a student in one group, if we do it this way, it's going to apply to everything on the site. We don't want that. We only want them to have the student role inside the groups that they are inside of. Does that sort of make sense? Yeah. It's a little tough to wrap your head around, but I think I'll show you in a second. So organic groups have its own way to have permissions and roles. And again, it's on this configuration page here where we got that field. Organic groups. And there's this organic groups, roles, overview. It shows our course here. We can edit this. There's a few already made by default. Non-member, member, and administrative member. We're going to make our own role for whenever we make a new course. So we're going to call this student. We're going to add this role. Okay. There's also this edit permissions thing, which is very, very similar to that people tab here, permissions. Do it right here, and we get things that are just for organic groups permissions here. So some of this stuff isn't really applicable to a student, like adding users or managing members. That's too much for them. Right here, we go down. We want them to create their own homework content. So we're going to give them that. They should probably edit their own homework content. And they should probably delete their own. We're going to leave any and delete any off, just their own stuff here. So do that. Save the permissions. Okay. So if we go back to the student here, we refresh again. It's still not, where's the link? They still can't do it. It's because we haven't applied the role to them in the group yet. So I'll show you how to do that. We're going to go back here, and I'll go to that group tab I was showing you earlier. Where you can add people, you can manage the group members. And we saw this before. And there's this column right here, roles. There's nothing for either of these people right here. What we want to do is we want to give this student, we want to give them the role of student. So we can go to edit here, and that role we just made appears right here. So we could give them administrator member, but you know, that's not what we want to do. We want to give them the student. Update their membership. The roles, and now they have the student role. So now they should be able to make and upload their own homework content. So let's go back to student here, refresh, and now they have that permission to add the content. Does that make sense? Yes. Let's see that. Add content. All right, title. Okay. Venus's okay, cool. So again, we choose Astronomy 101, body, and it in on time. Okay. Choose our file here. Venus's orbit. Upload. And remember, we set this private. We want that to be default. So, but that, and eventually you probably want to just hide this from the student eventually anyways. That's later, that's next year. So let's save that. Okay. See it here. It's Astronomy 101. There it is. The students. He's right there. Okay. All right, well, I only got 7 minutes, so I think I'm going to wrap up the demo. Is that clear for everybody? That's pretty cool, huh? Oh, and if we go to Firefox, I should not be able to see this, right? Right, they can't see it. They can't see it, the homework. So, there. So we just built our own little classroom. We didn't touch a single line of code. That's pretty cool, huh? Yeah. Okay. All right. My remote still works. Okay, anyways. So part 3, 1,000 other things you can do with organic groups. So we built here an online classroom. If you do some tutorials with organic groups online, you're going to see this a lot. Just because it's really, really easy to understand the basic concepts of organic groups. What are some other sites that use organic groups? Well, there's groups.drupal.org. This uses organic groups. I'm not sure if you guys can read this, but you can see some of the new groups up there. Spain has one, Social Initiative, Recipes and Food. Hungry is underneath that, which I find kind of funny that Recipes and Food is above that. So, the Montreal group, we use it too. We use groups.drupal.org, and that's the URL. And this is where we have, welcome, what we do, upcoming events, job listings there, and polls you can do, basically whatever you need to do. Probably the biggest one I've found is energy.gov down in the States. And I think what they're doing here is for each city, it's its own group. So Manhattan is its own organic group. So it doesn't need to be like a classroom setting. It can be something as big as a city. What are some other use cases? So you got a record label. What's a record label going to do with organic groups? Let's go back to this. Organic groups is just collections of people and content. What's a collection inside of a record company? A band? What kind of people are in a band? You got musicians, you got fans, what kind of content? You got music, hopefully. You got videos, you got blogs. So this works really good for it. Especially because, you got groupies inside of bands too, so the analogy works really well. Another use case, if you have a small franchise. If you have a client who owns, say, like 5 or 6 cafes around the city, well, what do we do here? Collections of people and content? What's a collection? Cafe. People, staff, customers, sort of content. Menu, special offers, And you can do sort of internal stuff too, like we did with our homework thing, just a staff schedule. Some stuff you don't need to even show your customers. But these are fancy ones. We're not going to do a record label anytime soon. We don't know any people who own small franchises. Not me. But craft fair. We probably build sites for craft fairs. What's a craft fair do? Organic groups. Collections of people and content. Collection. Vendor table. What sort of people? Vendor. Customers. What sort of content? Merchandise. Blog you might have. Availability at what time they're going to be at their tables. You guys are getting it? Okay. Collections of people, content. So let's go back to what my original problem was. I had to build an online classroom. I had this module. Read that again. Classroom is a simple but flexible e-learning system. Allows for great courses, containing resources, assignments, and that kind of stuff. Doesn't that seem really limiting now? In organic groups? Just how open-ended you can do stuff in organic groups. So organic groups is more than a classroom. It can also be 1,000 other things. Thank you. If you want to learn more, I can probably give you a list of 20 sites you can go to, but this is probably the best one I found. This URL, node1.se. They're from Sweden. And they're really good video tutorials, video screencasts. And the host, Johan Fall, I've met him at other DrupalCons. He's really funny, and he drinks tea while he does it. He's very human. And they have a really good Learn Organic Groups section. And they got anything essential inside of Drupal, they probably have a series explaining it. So check that out. So me, again, Trevorkjorlien, that's not a typo, it's Norwegian. That's my website. You can follow me on Twitter there. And I wish I could stay for the rest of the day and have lunch with you guys and answer your questions, but I gotta go to a wedding right now. Not my own, but somebody else. So thanks, but I gotta go right now. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I changed it to this one. Yeah, that one didn't work. I didn't get the full. Nice meeting you. Yeah, sure. It's really cool.
It was like this yesterday. I was asking you.
Oh, okay. Well, it worked just now.
Yeah.
Displays are fun.
Was it plugin or?
That one.
No.
I kind of got a good panic for it too.
No, that's perfect. I just want to find out why.
Sais-tu c'est où l'inscription? Juste, oui.
Je vais y aller avec vous. C'est avec quelqu'un ça? Je vais en faire là.
Okay, maybe you know what I thought was the cable. You use a blue cable for yours?
For mine going into my own projector, it worked good. I haven't tested yet with the one.
Okay.
The black one was the one we tried first.
Yeah?
That one.
And you tried another one after the blue one? Because yesterday was perfect with the black one. The blue one, that's one pin rope.
See? And, I just used the blue for mine.
And the use, yeah. It's really
Just for the,
okay.
so you don't need that.
Okay.
Yeah, so most of them the adapter because I was just using it for this. So.